From the beginning of this chapter, I was able to know that contemporary art was considered the art of today, or invented after the World War from the 1950s to the present. So artists living in the 21st century produce contemporary artworks. So the art are not just found in museums, they can also be inside or outside places like galleries, artworks, art schools, side streets, or even public spaces. I have also learned that there are two main applications of the term contemporary art in the discourse of art since 1990s, and those were the chronological and historical views. Modern art is the art theory and practice predominantly in Western Europe and North America from the 1860s to the late 1960s. Contemporary art was placed in the following years. First was the art produced in 1945, where most historians considered it outdated because of the change in American history. Second is the art created in 1960s, which are critics due to the emergence of this time who were returning to the modernist practice. So I knew that the heritage can be passed from one generation to the next and can be conserved or inherited as a historical and cultural value. It can be physical objects like paintings, old buildings, heritage practices like dance and festivals and regional heritage. An example of this was the cockpit in Baclayan, Bohol.
So I'm going to discuss about the context of contemporary arts. Negros is one of the areas where there is a strong regional art tradition. Negros has been called the Philippine sugar capital because of its central location within the nation's most important sugar producing area. Here's some group of artists that are found in Negros. Cristina Celesta Taniguchi, also known as Kitty. All of her works are due to her personal experiences, and her depictions of women in portraits are of expressions of truth, reality, and challenges that women face through the centuries of oppressions, physically and spiritually. Charlie Ko, born in November 5, 1960, and the co-founder of the Black Artists in Asia. He represented the Philippines in different prestigious international events. Junix Duran Inusian. He was a Filipino actor and comedian. He starred in various plays such as Miss Saigon, Fiddler on the Roof, and the film version of Swedish crime novel Tattooed Torso, and Sinbad. Dr. Elsa Victoria is a Filipino poet, short story writer, and playwright from Bacolod. She is also a multi-awarded writer. In 1999, she was installed as a Hall of Famer in the Palanca Awards because of how she won more than 20 times. Joel Torre is a Filipino actor and producer who is best known for his numerous films such as Jose Rizal, On the Job, and Amigo. Dennis Trillo is a Filipino actor, model, and a recording artist. He was known for his role as Eric Del Mundo in the first ever gay theme series on Philippine TV titled My Husband's Lover. That would be all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jukno De Pina. For this subject, I learned some topics in chapter 3. The topic of the chapter 3 is form, style, and arts practices in contemporary arts. There are 10 classification of art form. First is visual art, visual art, architecture, music, dance, theater, photography, cinema, broadcast, digital art, and installation. Um, um, in visual arts, there are two-dimensional arts. First is two-dimensional arts and three-dimensional arts. Two-dimensional arts, here is the example. The three-dimensional arts, here is the example. Next is architecture. The example of architecture is here. Next is music. The example of music is here. Next is dance. Here is the example. Next is photography. Here's the example of photography. Next, the theater. Here is my example of theater. Next is cinema. Here is the example of cinema. Next is broadcast. Here is example of broadcast. Next is digital arts. Here is an example of digital arts. Lastly is Installation. Here is example of installation. That's all. Thank you.
More what I have learned thus far in my art appreciation class. How about an overwhelming amount of information regarding the fundamentals of visual art? The artist works and ways to look at art. I learned there are elements and principles that go into creating and appreciating art. Line, shape, form, volume, mass, value, space, color, time, and motion are the elements. Contrast, variety, balance, scale, proportion, emphasis, focal point, pattern, rhythm, content, analysis are principles. First, I had to come to an understanding of what defines art. I found there is no simple definition to define art. Art is an artist's creative interpretation or imagination of an art composition. The term art encompasses a large variety of works, from paintings to sculpture, architecture to design, and in modern times, digital art. Everyone can appreciate and marvel at art, and being subjective in nature, different art forms appeal to different people. Art appreciation, however, refers to exploration and analysis.
Social Science 1 discusses contemporary art in the Philippines. In this subject, we learned about Philippine modernism and the birth of Philippine contemporary art. How did contemporary art start in the Philippines? When did it happen? What happened during this period? These questions were answered while tackling the subject, Social Science 1. The post-war period started in 1946 to 2000 and brought the challenge of Filipino architects on reconstruction inspired by the aesthetics of modern architecture and utilizing new materials and techniques. Post-war art and cultural expression were exemplified by various art forms, styles, and cultural artifacts. Jeepney art became prevalent and it combined various crafts in creating colorful art expressive of Filipino identity. Filipino classical composers were inspired by modern techniques that they combined with native Philippine music to create new compositions. Popular music flourished due to mass media and the mass production of records, cassettes, and compact discs. Philippine art during the martial law period was characterized by government patronage and strict control. Art was utilized as an instrument to support the vision of a new society and convey an image of a revitalized progressive nation. The popularity of local compositions characterized Philippine popular music during the 1970s. The end of martial law and the post-EDSA period brought Philippine art to a new era of expression and experimentation.
So, hello, I am Diego Sembrano from STEM Edge 12. I'm here to share what I've learned during this class. So, in this class, I've learned many things in regards to art. I've also come to many realizations that have changed my opinions of art. One of the most important things I've learned is that art isn't just an expression of emotion and creativity. Art can preserve history in ways words cannot. It can visualize concepts and ideas that can be interpreted uniquely from person to person. As Filipinos, it is very important for us to preserve our cultural creativity, to make sure that it isn't lost to the passage of time. To address this issue, the National Commission for Culture and Arts launched the Gawad sa Manglilikha ng Bayan or National Living Treasure Award in 1992 to shed some light on our local folk artists who have mastered their craft and have gone beyond to preserve their practice and art, and make sure that their skills are passed on to the next generation. The Gamaba Award also aims to preserve these artistic traditions by teaching the youth of these crafts. This is important to keep our traditions and ingenuity alive for future generations, and that our history will never be lost through time. Our art is a part of our identity. It is our duty to preserve this so we do not forget who we are and our origins. We are Filipinos, and our culture and art is something we should be proud of.
So hello, my name is Giette Bon from Sam H. Erudite of Contemporary Arts. This visual art after 1980 4th edition focuses more on 8th art over the past decade. So this identity, it is the way we see and express ourselves. Numerous craftsmen utilize their works to precise, investigate, and address thoughts almost precise personality. So these are the example of the identity. One is the body. Individuals modify their bodies, hair, and clothing to adjust with or revolt against social tradition and to specific messages to others around them. So these are the picture. Time affect throughout the extent of media and discover meaning within their devices. The chart, time locks, calendars, hourglasses, and time-elapse videos. So, one example niya. Conceptual specialists, moreover, utilize dialect within the frame of enlightening and specifying. So, this is the example of the picture. One is memory. So, I will show you some example of memories. Language. I will show you some artwork of a language. Actually, so this one is the last among the 8, and I will show you some pictures. Thank you.
Hello, and I'm Jesper Ivan P. Vermeer, and I will fully explain all the things that I've learned in Arts Appreciation Social Science. Arts Appreciation has taught me to better understand the artwork that they've put out so that I could get the full experience and understanding that the message that they're trying to convey, whether it be the general knowledge of arts application. And one such example of an artist, if I recall, is Vincent van Gogh. His arts are magnificent and beautiful with I'm sure many meanings, but it has never been fully appreciated by the people of his time. And it's only after he passed away that people started appreciating his artworks. And so this is why we have to practice arts appreciation.